the most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hi, Broker Nation. I am thrilled to introduce our guest today, Rob McLister. Rob is based out of Toronto, but he's also in Vancouver, Newfoundland, New Brunswick. He's basically all over the place with his company. He's been a mortgage broker for 7 years. He's the editor of Canadian Mortgage Trends, and he's also the mortgage columnist for the Globe and Mail. I am stoked for this interview today. Rob, are you ready to rock?
I hope so. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my wife Melanie and I started the business in 2006. We run a brokerage operation, an online mortgage brokerage called IntelliMortgage. Basically, we have a two-prong approach. We do it-yourself mortgages, and we do full-service mortgage planning.
And so how did you get into the mortgage business? Because nobody ever, as a little kid, I'm sure when you were 5 years old, said, hey, I want to be a mortgage broker. So what was your path to getting into the mortgage biz?
Actually, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut and a mortgage broker.
Well, you were way ahead of the curve, man, because I don't even think that a career existed when you were a little kid.
Yeah, I didn't know about a mortgage broker when I was a little kid, that's for sure. I actually started as an equities trader. I traded stocks for 11 years, and the market changed. They started decimal pricing. Decimal pricing killed our business. So the income potential was not anywhere near what it was in the closing days of our business. So we're looking for something new, looking at career paths. We're pretty sure we want to do something online, something techie. And we happened to be getting a mortgage at the time, and the process went really smoothly. We used a mortgage broker. So we thought maybe we'd, do something mortgage-related online, and we, did our Google searches, and there didn't seem to be that much competition in the space at that time in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So we started a little operation called My Virtual Mortgage Broker with the idea of getting clients online.
Was it kind of ahead of the curve? Because I think nowadays, it's very well established online, lead gen. But in 2006, it wouldn't have been as prominent a way to grow your business.
Yeah, it was the infancy back then. No doubt about it.
Cool. And so before we dive into your story, I always like to ask about a success quote that's impacted you. So can you share a quote? Because the reason I like quotes is because they're portable, they're memorable, and you can take them with you, and it can remind you sort of a way to think. So can you share a quote that's really impacted your life or business?
One quote that I think is most applicable to me personally is from Steve Jobs, and he, his words are focusing is about saying no, and that's really apropos to me. I mean, for years I said yes to far too much. Yes to new business ideas, projects, new websites, new writing assignments, you name it. And the older I get, the more I realize that you can't really be at the top of your game unless you say no a lot. So, these days, I'm trying to focus energies on, 2 initiatives instead of 20, and not getting distracted, and really follow through is everything in business. And I learned that the hard way, and so that quote means a lot to me.
I've never actually heard. I've heard obviously versions of that, but I've never heard Steve Jobs, and I love that. So focusing is about saying no. So can you give an example, maybe, of something recently that you said no to because you're trying to stay focused on your two priorities?
Writing for another media outlet. As tempting as it is to get out there and get some exposure, it's just writing takes a tremendous amount of time if you try to do it well. And for every few hours that I spend on that, it's a few hours less that I can nurture my business, and the long-term success, I think, is our brokerage business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's good. I definitely am a guy that needs to be reminded of that because I have idea avalanches, and then I'm trying to focus. So I'm gonna post that on the wall in my office. So the other thing I noticed is successful brokers or entrepreneurs is that failure definitely happens, but it's not fatal. And looking back, there's always a lesson. So can you share an example of something that you had failed at, but looking back, there was a lesson in it for you?
Yeah, you've not talked about this before. I had this when I was a stock trader. I used this software to help me find trading opportunities. And I always said to myself, I could do this better. I can create a better mousetrap, better software. I could find more opportunities and make a lot more money. So we embarked on this massive mission to create this stock filtering software. I spent almost $1 million developing it, me and other people that were involved. And, it was truly state-of-the-art. It was called Filter Trader. It was truly state-of-the-art. And good as it was, the project failed because basically we ran out of money and we couldn't finish it. And, the number one takeaway and all that, and it was actually a very painful process. Like when you spend as much of your life, invest as much of your life in something as we did in this project, it's very hard to just, consider it a sunk cost and move on to the next thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, big emotional investment in it, time, money, and, eventually, you have to just sometimes realize things aren't working and move on to the next thing that can work. And so, the number one takeaway, I think, was that, and this applies to any brokers that are doing anything technological, is that feature creep can kill a project. It's far better, like Google has this philosophy of just come up with a great idea, develop a good initial version of it, and get it out there. It doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles, but it's far better to get a first iteration to market and enhance it later than try to get it perfect the first time. And believe me, I learned that the hard way in this project, and it's something that'll stick with me forever.
So you basically had this great idea for this software that was going to make the job, easier, more automated. But the feature creep, you mean? So explain that to someone who maybe isn't techie, because I know what you mean by that, but maybe just explain it to someone who doesn't understand tech.
Yeah. So instead of just a simple system that displayed ticker symbols that might meet your criteria, we started developing things where, okay, well, it's going to, it'll show you the ticker symbol, then it'll show a chart, then it'll show a couple other charts, then it'll show news on the stock, and then all these features, whereas if we initially just, started with a basic concept, which is create a good filtering engine, see the ticker symbol on the screen, and then type it into a chart and do all these things manually instead of trying to make it, automated and perfect and whatnot, then, I think we've been further ahead. We could have got to market, could have got customers, could have been self-financing. And so I think you have to be really focused in any business, whether, regardless of what it is, to get the business to market and start generating some revenue.
Mm-hmm. There's a great concept. I did a business venture with a friend, and my loss was nowhere near not $1 million, but it was still painful. And then afterwards, I'd heard about in software development, the new strategy is called minimum viable product, which is basically what's the smallest thing that you can create that you could sell, and then they can test your market instead of locking yourself in a room and building this amazing thing. And then by the time you're done, people are like, that's not what I wanted, And so, for sure, if the lean, it's called the lean startup method. You probably heard of that, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can always make it better later.
Right.
But you need to start somewhere.
Yeah. So I check that out. If anybody's listening and you're, into development of anything, that's awesome advice, is to figure out, okay, what's the least that I can build to get started, and then get feedback, and then you can pivot and adjust from there. So the other thing I noticed, and I know you're really good at this, at systems and process, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Successful brokers use systems and they use processes, and I'm going to ask you specifically about an administrative process maybe that wasn't working as well for your business, and then a kind of a tweak that you had made, and then the outcome that you got.
Yeah, this one, we started as a traditional brokerage shop, so, agents do everything from the beginning to end of the deal, all the paperwork and everything. We've realized that for our particular niche of the world, which is online mortgages, we needed to ensure the business can scale. So we hired salaried specialists to process specific parts of the mortgage transaction, because I think that's really the only way you can make the business bigger. You look at case studies, look at Quicken Loans, the world's #1 online mortgage provider. They did $80 billion last year, astronomical.
What? $80 billion?
Yeah, now mind you, they're in the U.S. So
yeah. Oh my goodness.
But nonetheless, they're the biggest online mortgage provider out there. So, I looked at their systems, and you can email me this. I can send you the process chart, but or anyone can for that matter. They have 7 underwriters that touch a file.
How many?
So these are 7.
7. Okay.
So these are specialists. They look at income, they look at down payment, they look at different aspects of the deal, and that is their specialty. That's all they do. So I think the lesson there is that in order to scale, you need a highly efficient production line. Like look at Henry Ford, what he did with cars, and that applies to tons of businesses, including the mortgage business. And you need experts at each stage of the mortgage process and the fulfillment process.
Dude, I love this. This is like, you're speaking my love language. If I had a love language, it's like process and systems. And I've noticed talking to successful brokers that the guys that are killing it, they all recognize this, that you break the process down, and you have each people. You've gone even a step further, because 7 people. I haven't heard anybody using 7. I would love if you could send me that sheet, and I'll put it on the website so people can check it out if it's something they're interested in.
Yeah, for sure. I was pleasantly surprised. sometimes the Quicken loans even disclose that information, but definitely.
I mean, again, it's all about like, yeah, you can see it, but then creating it is another whole other, the idea is great, but it's about execution that's going to make the difference, right? So another area, a sales process and marketing. And so I want to ask about a sales or a marketing process maybe that wasn't working as well as you guys were hoping, and then a tweak that you made, and then the outcome that you got.
Well, we learned that doing nothing doesn't work very well. In the early days, we really neglected to follow up with clients often enough. We lost renewal business because of it. We just weren't nurturing client relationships as well as we could have. And there are so many great brokers out there, experienced brokers, guys who have been around, men and women have been around, 10, 20 years that have this down pat. It's so vital to connect with clients on a semi-regular basis. Meredith talks about touching on clients at least quarterly. That's very good advice. We weren't doing that, and we were encountering clients, that were renewing elsewhere because of it. Again, this is just one example. I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes in our business, and we've learned from them. And this is one key one that I think that if you can avoid learning the hard way and just do it and get your CRM online and working well and putting content in there. We talked about minimum viable product. Well, there's like minimum viable content.
Right. Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Writing something in a newsletter or something in the email to a client and reaching out to them and reminding them that you still exist is better than doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. So what does the process look like now then? So when you first started, you didn't have that system set up. So somebody gets a loan through you guys. Like what does it look like over the next term? How are you guys staying in touch, like frequency and stuff?
Yeah, well, now we use this product called Infusionsoft, and there's tons of different ones out there, like Salesforce, you name it. Mm-hmm. There's tons out there. So we've created, funnels, sales funnels and whatnot, and follow-up, automated follow-ups and whatnot. And it works well. And we don't hammer people with useless emails like, stuff like, what flowers to plant in March and stuff like that, what's the best color for your living room paint choice, that type of stuff. That does nothing, I think, for most people. We try to send people just value-added information about the market and tailor it to their specific mortgage.
Right. So it's because especially Infusionsoft is quite a robust software. I've got friends that use it, and so you can actually put people in different campaigns based on their criteria, whether they're first time buyer or investor, and then you can make sure that the messaging to them is appropriate. Is that right?
Yeah, it is very powerful. It's actually way more powerful than I have the capabilities to understand. I have another gentleman that works on it for us. But again, it's just one of many options out there. Mm-hmm. And as long as you're using something, just to touch base, and it doesn't have to be fancy. A lot of brokerages have in-house CRMs that they developed, and a lot of times people are like, I want to customize this or customize that. I want it to look a certain way, and that striving for perfection keeps them from actually, writing the emails and setting up the mail outs in the database and actually contacting their clients. Mm-hmm. So again, at least something is better than nothing.
Right. No, that's awesome. So another noticing thing I've noticed talking to brokers is the idea of the need to diversify income. And so I've been talking to people. Some people, there's two camps in my mind that have seemed to be forming. One camp says, yes, you need to diversify, you need to cross-sell, get, share of wallet. Another camp says, no, just focus on brokering. That's enough. So which camp do you fall in? And if you are diversifying or you're looking at it, what areas are you focusing on?
To be truthful, I mean, we have enough on our plate now with mortgages that we haven't really dabbled too far into other revenue sources. I want to be the very best we can be in mortgages before we start diversifying other stuff. Again, it comes back to what I said earlier about, diverting focus from things that are most important. But that said, incremental, revenue can't hurt. So, the banks can cross-sell. There's no reason why mortgage brokers can't. We certainly intend to offer, approved clients a menu of other financial products, and how that looks. We're developing it now, whether it's, a one-pager that has, 4 or 5 offers from other financial providers, whether it's insurance or, GSEs or what have you. Making those products available and, check here if you want more information. That seems like a low-risk, easy way to try your hand at cross-selling other things. But again, you have to be careful. You don't want to recommend things like our whole model is consumer choice, right? Like we want people to have the most amount of choice and choose the very best product for them. So if we're only offering them one product from one provider, that doesn't really jive with our whole philosophy. So, we're probably not going to take a big stab at this. It'll be, if we put something out there, it will truly be a class-leading product in that financial space. And so it's all about doing the right thing for the consumer.
Right. No, that's awesome. And lately I've been getting more and more people telling me, no, you need to, be good at brokering and the rest of the things will take care of themselves. And, but you're right. If you can find the right product and it makes sense, then it's good. So I want to actually, before I'm going to move to the rapid fire questions, which have a little shorter answers, I want to circle back to something you'd said because you talked about how Quicken Loans has 7 people in the process. So can you just give me like a snapshot of sort of how you guys are like the process, what your process looks like as far as, the people that are like your team, how that works?
Yeah, we have front-end people that deal with clients on chat or by phone. We have email specialists. We have dedicated underwriters where all they do is just talk to clients and verify the application information and go through a suitability check and that type of thing. We have document specialists, and then we have a fulfillment specialist that follows up, make sure the lawyers are instructed, appraisals are scheduled, that kind of thing. And everyone has their own specific role. That way, another benefit is that there's accountability. So, if something happens with an appraisal, you go to the appraisal person. If something happens, like, where a deal was declined because something was wrong with the underwriting, you go to the underwriter. And it works very efficiently. Accountability is key in any business. Yeah,
one of the things, and this you are like taking this to a whole other level than some of the other people I talk to, but I've kind of noticed that the successful brokers have most brokers businesses look like a little kid's soccer game, and I don't know if you've ever watched little kids play soccer, but they all crowd the ball and nobody plays position. And then there's some guys like Callum Ross and what you guys are doing, and you realize no, if you want to scale, if you want to get big, you need to have a team because everybody plays position and you move the ball around, you score more goals, and so you guys have got it down to even, an even more defined process because you got the front end people, you got a couple extra and you'll be able to scale your business like, and they become really specialized and good at the thing that they're doing all day, every day. So I think I just absolutely love the system that you guys are building.
Yeah, it makes it easier for the specialist to train, the next person. So all of our people are trained by the specialists in each role. So we don't have to worry about one person being a jack of all trades.
Right. No, it's brilliant. I think you guys you're definitely ahead of the curve on that. And good on you. So I'm going to move to rapid fire questions. So these you can answer with a little shorter answers if you like. So what's the number one thing holding back most mortgage brokers from being successful?
I think focusing on what's best for them, the broker, as opposed to what's best for the client. The one stat that's always disappointed me personally in this business is that 90% of a typical broker's volume goes to 3 or 4 lenders. I think that their clients, in many cases, not all, are missing out on potentially better mortgage alternatives elsewhere. And the key value proposition of brokers is choice. So I think you need to offer consumers choice and find a way to do that. If you don't have status as a lender, find a way to get that status through a deal desk or through partnering up with other brokers or whatnot. Just make sure that you're offering the very best solution that the client can possibly get through you.
Yeah, that's good. And what one thing or habit you think has made you successful?
I think ignoring critics is a big thing.
Really? You have critics?
I think everyone has critics, some more than others. There's in a business that's entrenched, industry that's entrenched, and our industry has been entrenched in many ways. There's a conventional way of brokering, and if you deviate from it, a lot of people get their feathers ruffled. You could listen to that, and you could let it affect you, or you don't. You just focus on doing the right thing for the consumer, and that's what we've tried to do. I want to be the broker that I would want if I were in the client's shoes, and being that guy with as few biases as possible when making recommendations. And that's hard because it costs you. Like, there's a cost to that, right? You don't get the same compensation, or you don't get the same status, or you don't get trips to Mexico or whatever. But I think that again, ignoring critics and doing what's right for the consumer 100% of the time, not even 95%.
Right. That's awesome. And so do you have an internet resource or software program you use to make your business more successful? Other than, you said Infusionsoft, is there another one maybe that you would recommend?
Apart from Infusionsoft and QuickBase, which is our client database, all of our core technology is developed in-house. So, our online client portal is very popular. I think it's among the best in the business in terms of the online client portal in the broker space, and our clients love it. They can do everything online, upload documents, and check on their deal status, and get the notifications and all that good stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think we're going to move towards a more, it's also safer for the client instead of email. And I think we're going to move more to that. But not many people are, really offering it, but it'll come, you're usually ahead of the curve a little bit. So we'll see it in a couple of years. So if you could recommend one book for our listeners, what would it be?
One book. To be honest, I don't really read books. I learn pretty much everything from Google. So Google.ca would be my version of a book.
That's awesome. And so where do you think our industry's headed? Where's the opportunity?
Well, the number one growth area is online. It's as simple as that. There's no other space in the broker space that I'm aware of that has the growth potential of online, because it delivers better value to consumers in many ways. And when I say better value to consumers, I mean to a subset of consumers, not all. There will always be full-service mortgage brokers, period. But the online space has the ability to deliver better pricing to consumers and help them make their own decisions. And so that's where the growth is, in my view, anyway.
Mm-hmm. So this is the last question. It's one of my favorites. That's the DeLorean question. Remember the movie Back to the Future?
I do. That was a while ago.
And so in the movie, there's the DeLorean. It's this car you can travel in time. So if I could get you in the DeLorean, and I would set it to when your first day as a mortgage broker, and I'd send you back there, and you could give yourself 3 pieces of advice to have a better business today, what 3 things would you tell yourself so that in telemortgage would be bigger and better than it is right now?
Partner with an extremely trustworthy IT firm. That is key. Had bad experience there. Do extensive reference checks on who you partner with in general. And 3, how about build unique mortgage content? Something that Google will rank highly, because if you're for online focus brokers, because if you're in the online space, you got to be in the top 10 in Google someplace, somewhere for key keywords.
Mm-hmm. So partner with a reputable IT firm, build unique mortgage content. What would the 3rd thing be? So this is you talking to yourself. So it doesn't need to be like, it's you sitting down across from yourself saying, "Hey, Rob, do this." What would you say?
Yeah, just choose your partners very carefully.
Okay. Well, Rob, I have really appreciated your time in this interview. Where can people find you online?
Well, we're at intelmortgage.com, ratesbuy.com, and canadianmortgagetrends.com.
Pretty much, yeah. So they'll find you if they're looking for you, and on the Globe and Mail. So, and are you guys hiring at all?
We are actually underwriters.
Underwriters, okay, awesome. And so, anybody listening to this, they can get links to Rob in the show notes and the stuff that we talked about. Rob, I'm certain you're going to crush the rest of your year, and I really appreciate your time today, man. Have an awesome day.
You are very kind. Thanks very much.
The most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hey, Broker Nation, Scott Peckford here. Have you joined our VIP club for mortgage brokers yet? If not, you're missing out. We share exclusive content not available on the web or the show. We share scripts, step-by-step guides, and other insider tips to help you save time and make you more money. I can't tell you how many times after I turn off the recorder, a guest starts sharing some awesome advice or a script or a tip, and I take the best of this and share it with my VIPs. If you want to get on the list, visit ilovemortgagebrokering.com/VIP. That's ilovemortgagebrokering.com/VIP. Oh, and one other thing. Since this is exclusively for mortgage brokers, there is a skill testing question. Good luck, and I hope you continue to rock your mortgage biz.